LeBron James has been a great influence on and off the court for many years now. LeBron once touched the field of politics and was told by Fox host Laura Ingraham to shut up and dribble. Now it looks like LeBron James may have just taken that advice. LeBron recently said he'll go with his own name on his jersey instead of the NBA's social injustice slogans. I would say I'm shocked because LeBron James has done more than the average athlete in regards to social injustice work, but the more I think about it, the more I'm not shocked. LeBron James went against Kyrie Irving's revolt of sitting out the rest of the season due to the racial divide going on in the country. Yet we praise LeBron and blast Kyrie Irving for him speaking his truth. Let us keep in mind, the Lakers are the hottest team in the league before the hiatus has took place, and they have a great shot to win the championship once the season resumes. LeBron's main concern right now is winning another championship to narrow the GOAT comparisons with Michael Jordan. Take a look at his Instagram, see for yourself. You'll see a picture of LeBron in a tank with the caption, "I'm trying to destroy whoever's in front of me." That tells me all I need to know about where LeBron James' head is at this very moment, and it's on basketball. Even Kyle Korver, who's a white athlete, said he will wear Black Lives Matter on his jersey, and this is not even his battle to fight. It seems as if we are seeing China Braun again at this time. Yes, China Braun. The time when LeBron denied speaking on social issues in China and throwing Daryl Morey under the bus. Let us remember, WNBA player Maya Moore took a year off of prom to help a free man convicted of burglary he didn't commit. Colin Kaepernick risked his career to protest social injustice. LeBron, we appreciate everything you do. Truly, honestly, we do. But this is a friendly reminder that in the world of social injustice, they ain't no half-stepping, my brother. They ain't no half-stepping. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Real Leel Show, where I give my unique takes going on in the world of sports and pop culture. It's been 2 months since I last recorded my last episode. Obviously, I don't know if y'all been living on the rock, but I'm pretty sure everybody's aware of what's going on in society right now with this pandemic that's going on. So schedules have been alternated. There's a lot of confusion around the world, and especially with my program. So I'm glad to have this show back up and running, and I have some special guests. We're going to go down the line. I have Will from On The Board Sports Podcast. I also have Rafique from Nothing But That Sports Talk Podcast. And I also have the familiar Mel, if you watch my shows. She was on the show with me in college, and WYGL Podcast. What's up? How's everybody doing today?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Same here.
Hot day today, but gotta make the best out of a bad situation, and glad to be on.
Definitely. And you know what? This is a show where we keep it real. So that's what we're gonna do here on this show. We're gonna be understanding. We're gonna definitely hear each other's viewpoints, but at the same time, we always gotta keep it real. That's why it's called the Real Leel Show. So before we start, I just want to let everybody know to check out It's Good to Gamble 6, the video I just did, the Return to Sports. It's a good video. I took my time on it, and I did a lot of research. So the link will be in the description box below to watch that video after this video concludes. But nevertheless, I'm ready to get started, and we might as well start off with the first topic that we have here, reacting to Nick Cannon's and DeSean Jackson's anti-Semitic comments. Both of these brothers came out of the blue with comments that wasn't so favorable to the Jews. And starting with whoever want to go first, I'm guessing Will, you could go first if you want to. What do you think about these comments that was made?
First and foremost, man, what DeSean Jackson said and basically went out and said what he had to say, and basically bringing up Hitler, everything like that, to now, I don't get it. I don't get why he did it. But at that same point in time, it's like, I get he's trying to make a point. But when you go out there and you say some of the stuff that he said, you got to look for your next job somehow. Most of these owners out there are Jewish, and you see everything going on right now. And then Steven Jackson comes out there and he says basically almost the same thing, agreeing with him. I personally don't understand it. I don't understand why you go that route, me personally.
Rafique?
Honestly, you should have never said anything negative. You see what's been going on with the social injustice. Why would you go open your mouth to say all the stuff that you said? And that goes to both Nick Cannon and DeSean Jackson. And well, as far as Nick Cannon goes, look what happened to you, fam. Your show, and you're done.
Mel?
I get honestly it's a lot. I noticed that like when I was watching the video with like the Breakfast Club and how they had to say their take on it. It's just that I feel like we live in I'm not gonna say we live in a sensitive world, but you really have to be like, you have to censor what you say because a lot of it is gonna get you in trouble. So it's just like, yeah, we have freedom of speech, but there's gonna be consequences that's gonna follow up with it. So that's just like my take on it. It's just like every time you turn it around, it's always gonna be consequences for what you say. And it's sad that that's like our new reality where it's just like, if you don't like what somebody say, like if you're in power to get rid of them, then you'll get rid of them.
I would say this. I wasn't the biggest fan on either of Nick Cannon's and DeSean Jackson's comments. First of all, starting with DeSean Jackson here, you have so much material from Martin Luther King, from Malcolm X that you could have quoted. All right, the list goes on. Not even those two, but those two are the go-to guys. I would say quoting something from Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Right, those are the two guys that's the safest bet. And then you chose Adolf Hitler, out of all people, to post a quote. I mean, if y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know nobody in this world that's more evil than Adolf Hitler. You probably could, throw Satan in that mix, but Adolf Hitler reminds me of Satan based on the way how he thought, the book that he wrote, and what he did to the Jews. So for you to quote anything that he said, maybe you agree with that statement. You didn't agree with everything that came with his politics. But at the same time, whether or not that statement meant something to you, you still should not post anything Adolf Hitler has said, anything at all.
He was 100% wrong. DeSean Jackson was 100% wrong on that. And, to go out there and, usually they say if you don't learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat it. DeSean Jackson, you get to see everything that's going on right now in the world. And, the man opened up his mouth. He posted on social media. He got burned for it. And, there's nothing more that you could do or say at that point in time. What outside of that, he issued an apology. He got a little history lesson from a 94-year-old Holocaust survivor at that point in time. And, the only thing that DeSean Jackson can do here is learn from his mistakes. Will he learn from his mistakes? I sure hope so, for his sake. But there's nothing more that needs to be said here outside of the fact that DeSean Jackson made a mistake, and he's got to make better of it now.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And where we go to Nick Cannon, this is a guy that I kind of expected a little better from, simply because the DeSean Jackson incident took place a couple weeks before Nick Cannon posted the video, which I believe was pre-recorded with Professor Griff. So if you have somebody, if you know that's going on, this should give you a sense in your mind, a little appetizer for what's to come if you were to say something in similar fashion. And Nick Cannon decided that he was going to do that. Even though the show was probably pre-recorded last year, he still uploaded it. You could have edited that part out. But I'm disappointed because this is a guy that was on America's Got Talent. He knows he meets other people. This is not a guy that's only amongst his African American counterparts. He meets people from all different type of ethnicities because of his job placement. So for him to just be a little bit oblivious to the situations going on with the Jews, because obviously we all have issues, African American slavery, to the Jews, the Holocaust, but at the same time you cannot be on one side and be oblivious to others. Now don't get me wrong, I do believe that it was probably a mistake. He probably thought he was doing himself a favor by saying what he said to uplift black people. But if you want to uplift black people, you cannot knock anybody else down with that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very thin line when you talk about stuff like this, because in his eyes, he's probably seeing, all right, the Jews went through what they went through, and now when it comes to like, jobs, they have their own communities and stuff like that. And we black people are still at the lower echelon when it comes to the economic bracket. But at the same time, we cannot erase that history of what happened with the Holocaust. So I'm very disappointed from both guys.
Yeah, I mean, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in Nick Cannon as well because, like, he was never really known to be a racist rat. Like, he really was not. I mean, this is a guy who's been around Viacom CBS. Well, it wasn't always Viacom CBS, but he's been around that type of company ever since he was a teenager. He put the Nick in Nick Cannon. I'm really referring to his TV show at Nickelodeon. But, I mean, I didn't really get invested to him that much up until he came out with Wild 'N Out on MTV. That was when you really started to get a sense of how entertaining he is for people around the world. And now he comes out saying all those racist comments and anti-Semitic comments in a podcast. Like, you should just be careful what you said, Nick Cannon. That's all I got to say. I expected better from a man, especially when we're in the middle of a global pandemic and this social injustice. Like, we see what black males are being targeted, right? It's issues like that that's making it tough for majority of us black males and men and women to get the type of jobs we really want to get. I mean, yeah.
I mean, I would say, go ahead, Mel. Go ahead.
I want to say, like, okay, so I'm not like gonna say that everything that he said is right, which is totally not right. I do feel like with the comment, he was trying to mean well, but didn't know how to articulate that sentence the proper way that he needed to in order to get the proper message across. So I do feel like in the end, he didn't want to come off as I don't want to say the word wrong, anti-Semitic, Semitic. But that's just where I guess you could say ideology comes in, where people would think that, oh, you're so pro-black that you're anti this, you're anti that, which is not the case. But I do feel like I don't think he meant it in a malicious way. That's just my opinion. But this is something that I feel like everyone can learn from, where it's just that we could just take other people's mistakes and just, turn it into lessons. That's just what life is about.
My thing is, though, I just would say this. You can't see what happened with DeSean Jackson and not expect it to happen to you. I mean, something like LeBron James. There was a comment LeBron James made a couple years ago, and I remember it because I didn't think it was that bad, but a lot of people felt it was bad. He made a comment where he posted a video in his car saying, I'm getting that Jewish money, right? I didn't think it was too bad. I could see if you said, it offended me. Obviously, I'm not Jewish, so I would take your word for it and why it offended you. But he was asked to apologize, and he got steamrolled for that comment right there. So I don't think that comment is on the same level of what Nick Cannon and DeSean Jackson said. So for him to say that little comment and receive backlash for it, what makes you think you're going to go on your show and say the things that you said and it just be overlooked, especially where the world is watching now? There's not a lot of sports going on right now, as we can see. So a lot of these issues with racial inequality is at the forefront, and it's right in your face. So people are going to catch on to it. You know what I'm saying? Normally, we live in a society where everything is up and running, everything is moving, or I got to go to work. People are at home right now. People are watching anything. All eyes is on you if you have a platform. So you have to be a little bit more careful, and I hope both of these brothers learn their lesson going forward. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are just two of the among, other NBA players who decline respectfully to wear social injustice messages on their jerseys. Now, whoever want to go first, Mel, since you went last, first topic, you can go first. What do you think about this? LeBron James, Anthony Davis saying, listen, I don't want no parts of that.
Honestly, this is like news to me. I'm a person, I don't like to make people feel invalid. So it's like I don't want to like bash them, but I kind of want to know the why. Like, why did they not want to go with that option? So if anybody has any like information on the why, then maybe I could give a stronger opinion on that.
I could tell you one thing as far as this goes with LeBron and with Anthony Davis, specifically Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. Anthony Davis is a free agent at the end of the year, right? Let's say if he does go out there and does something wrong, like we alluded to in the last segment, if this affects his free agency by going out there and stating a cause, maybe he goes back home to Chicago. Chicago, there's a lot of stuff going on in Chicago right now. Nobody's really talking about it. What's going on over there? You know, maybe he could have said something, but he didn't want to affect his free agent deal, right? To that extent. Maybe endorsements will pull away in that regard. Maybe something that has to deal financially might happen with all that being said. LeBron, what happened with him with China, basically a couple of months, basically in October with Daryl Morey's comments, he had an opportunity to go out there and say something. He didn't, and he wound up going out there against, you know, the people of Hong Kong. And, you know, he's you know, like Jaleel, what you said earlier with LeBron with the Jewish money comment, he basically came out and said, oh, well, you know, people are going to be hurt, you know, spiritually and financially. And he basically supported the big business that was going on. Meanwhile, there's people's freedom of you know, you're talking about freedom of speech with China at that point in time. To get back to now with LeBron, with the jerseys, he's looking at it. He wants to become the first billionaire athlete that's still active right now. He's got Space Jam 2 coming out soon. He's got all these endorsement deals going on right now. There's a lot of things going on that basically you look at it, what it comes down to money at the end of the day. That's it.
All I got to say is, well, I'm sure LeBron and Anthony Davis don't really want any parts of the social justice. I mean, everybody, all the NBA players, they want to like have the social justice related messages on the back of the jerseys. This is just to show that they care about it, even when they are playing the game, and they're aware that even though they're not really supposed to be playing, because you know a lot of people don't really want sports to come back because all they care about is global pandemic and social justice. But the whole social justice in the back of the jersey message was brought up for a reason, is to show that even when you're playing basketball, that you care about the Black Lives Matter movement. Unlike certain idiots that want to paint the Black Lives Matter mural, but that's a topic for later on discussion. But you know what? LeBron James and Anthony Davis are just doing what they feel comfortable doing, which is using their own names and not social justice message, just because of the fact that you don't want the whole social justice to take away from your focus in the game.
I gotta agree with Will here. It's all money related, and it's all egotistically related as well. Listen, I know LeBron James has done more than the average Joe when it comes to social injustice work. He went above and beyond. He built schools. We all know that. The resume speaks for itself. But I'm of the mindset that it's easy to do something when it's convenient for you. It's easy to give out money when you have the money. It's easy to do something when you're not busy and you don't have a schedule. But it's harder to do it when you're worried about winning a championship. When the Lakers are the number one seed and they have the best odds to win a championship right now. So, I mean, that has a lot to do with it. Think about it. Kyrie Irving recently came out a month or two ago. Listen, I lost track of time with this whole pandemic and being home. So excuse me if I'm wrong. But I believe about a month and a half ago, Kyrie Irving came out with some statements about revolting and boycotting the NBA season to protest police brutality. Who was one of the people that was against it? LeBron James. Why was LeBron James against it? Because LeBron James want to win a championship. So he wants to be MVP. He don't want George Floyd's name to be on his back or whatever the names are, because George Floyd is not the one who won MVP. LeBron James, won MVP. So I want my name on my jersey. And the same thing with Anthony Davis. It's the Lakers. The Lakers are the biggest brand in the NBA, probably outside the Knicks. You know, sometimes it's hard to dissect brand from winning because the Knicks never do anything, never win. But the Lakers, I would assume, is right up there. So I think it's more about, you know, egos and why LeBron James respectfully declining. If Kyle Korver, who's a Caucasian man, could put stuff on his jersey when he doesn't have to, but he wants to be an ally, why can't you do something like that? You want to build schools, that's great, and I'm happy, and I'm on your side with that. But something little like this that is being offered and put on the table, you just declining it. I don't know. I didn't like it at all. I'm disappointed in LeBron James.
I'm not okay. Now getting the full backstory of everything. Like, in my opinion, I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out why they will make it like, okay, no, I don't want it there. Like, it just has a message on the back of your jersey. Like, we all know who you are. Like, we can't miss you.
Especially
so it's
LeBron
just like,
James, who's gonna miss that guy?
like nobody's not gonna miss him. Like I'm very familiar with who LeBron James is, and I don't watch sports, but I know who he is. Like I could point him out if I see him. So it's just like it's not gonna take away from who he is as a person, who he is as a player. Because at the end of the day, we know how he played. We know who he is. We know what he's capable of when he steps foot on that court. So it's just like putting social injustice messages on your jersey should not take away from anything at all. Of course, everything is about money. Money talks all the time, and money most definitely is the root of all evil, and it does run the world. As we all can see, we need money to live just an everyday basic life. So it's just like I can't see, I'm not even gonna say I can see. I can't see why it's just like you can't just, not just support, because maybe it's not even in his heart to fully support. And also it's like things with like his son now. Like everybody's talking about his son Bronny, and him maybe a colorist and things of that nature. So it's just like now I got my eyebrows raised at the family as a whole. So
very good point. And Bronny Jr. is in high school right now, so you don't want to have that attention on the kid as well. There's a lot of things going on outside of basketball, with LeBron James and his family. So that's a very good point you make right there.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm just disappointed because this is an opportunity that you should take if it's given to you. If I'm at a job and I'm employed, and they come up to me and be like, "Oh, we offering a system where you can protest police brutality," I'm taking it every time of the week. Colin Kaepernick just got blackballed. We all know that for 3 years now for kneeling during the national anthem. LeBron, you have an opportunity to do something little, something that was offered to you, where you just put the whatever commentary it is on your jersey. Like Mel said, excellent point. We gonna know who you are. We don't have to see your name, brother. You a freight chain. When we see you on the court, we gonna know that that's LeBron James. I can ask my 14-year-old niece who that is. She gonna be like, that's LeBron James. So I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just a little disappointed. I'm not saying LeBron James is a sellout. I'm not gonna go that far. But at the same time, I do believe he missed on his opportunity. Him, Anthony Davis, and not only these two guys, everybody else that respectfully declined this opportunity.
You have a good point. I mean, the social justice is a very serious issue, and like you said, we're gonna know that it's you that won the championship for the Lakers, not George Floyd or Breonna Taylor. You're just doing that to pay homage and respect for these people. Not to mention the fact that George Floyd is one of Stephen Jackson's good friends, another former NBA champion.
Exactly.
I'm so glad that you said that, because it's like it's not only it's not only just paying respect for George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and the many, many lives that has been lost. It's to pay homage as well to their families, just to let them know that I stand with you. Even when I'm on this court, even when I'm dribbling this ball up and down this court, I do it for me, I do it for my family, and I do it for them. So it's just a sign of just like unity. And that's all we're asking for. Like, we're not asking you to do nothing like major or out of pocket, and at the end of the day, you're still getting the check that you signed the contract for. At the end of the day, you still have a job. Like we said before, Colin Kaepernick lost his job and still was fighting, and all y'all was able to do was be like, I support you from the back end. That's all half of them was doing, was supporting him from the back, and that's it.
And now everybody wants to kneel now because it's popular to speak out. Baker Mayfield, I'm a kneel this year. Brother, you was in the league for 2 years now. I ain't see you kneeling. I mean, it's feasible now. So I don't know. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother episode, to be honest with you. But I like the points that everybody brought up as well. LeBron James, man, I'm just disappointed. But let's move on to the next topic that we have here. The Mavericks owner, Mark Cuban, says the national anthem police in this country are out of control. Now, there's a reason why he said that, and I'm going to read you the reason right now. So basically, Cuban initially tweeted bye on Sunday evening in response to a tweet from Mark Davis in which the Dallas conservative talk show host said he would no longer be a fan the minute one player kneels for the national anthem, also suggesting that Cuban could help guide the Mavs and the NBA to do whatever gesture they wish without insulting the nation. Now, I don't know if Mark Davis has been living under a rock, but I mean, isn't it evident right now why Colin Kaepernick knelt? Isn't it evident right now why African Americans are kneeling when they clearly said that it's not a disrespect to the flag? We still respect this country, but we trying to make light of social injustice. I don't know what's going on here. Talk to me, guys.
It's just Mark Cuban being Mark Cuban. I mean, he's just doing what he felt comes natural. And so it's those national anthem things. It's just, I have no comment on that one because Mark Cuban's been known to be involved in politics all the time, and this is no exception.
Well,
you look at Mark Cuban, he's a businessman, obviously. You look at the radio host that came out with these comments right now. It's the same thing that keeps on going on and on and on. Meanwhile, you look at everything that's going on. Colin Kaepernick, 4 years ago, like you alluded to, basically kneeled. He didn't disrespect the flag in any shape, way, or form, in my honest opinion. But you look at everything right now, you have people that go out there and that, have fought for this country, everything like that. I get it. I get it from both sides. I see it from both sides. But, I would not be surprised if I saw people kneeling now after this. And you alluded to it earlier. It's going to be the thing now. It's going to be the hot thing. It's going to be the hot topic of discussion. And, whether or not we all like to admit it or not, it's here. It's going to be here, and some people have to accept it for what it is.
And my thing is, for you to say I would no longer be a fan the minute somebody nails, then you obviously don't love sports, my brother. You ain't nobody gonna make me stop watching sports because of their political views. I'm sorry. If you call yourself a sports fan, then why not watch sports because of somebody's political views? Obviously, we've been on a hiatus for how many months it is now. And for sports to come back and you're not watching it because of somebody kneeling on top of that, then you don't love sports. So I'm just going to say, Mark Davis, you're not a sports fan. Simple as that.
I want to get back to your Colin Kaepernick point for a second, though. You look at him getting blackballed from this perspective. Nike wound up giving him a contract, and he could go back out there and he could go work out for these NFL teams. And you look at what's going on with him, and he's making money off of his shoe deal that he's getting. And not only that, but if we look at Roger Goodell coming out there and basically saying, "Oh, they didn't ever mention his name when they apologized," but Goodell and company knew who the message was going to in that regard. So, with everything that's been going on, with everything that's been said, just let's put some context. And, act like we're doing right now. We're talking about this stuff, and we're making it all known at that point in time.
Yeah, even though Colin Kaepernick pretty much did to himself when he did that taking a knee during the national anthem thing back in 2014, at least he still found ways to keep his life positive. Like, come on, between the Nike ads to the whole practice for the teams, Colin Kaepernick is just that guy when it comes to pop culture.
And we tend to forget, a lot of us, or maybe we don't know about it, but the person that told him to kneel was a retired veteran, because he asked, what would be the best way for me to accomplish this mission that I'm trying to accomplish? And he told him to. So I think a lot of people forget that aspect of it. But hey, I think sometimes people want to forget it because I think some people are just ignorant as well. And like I said, we all have different political views, but we also know that we have a lot of hotheads out here that really don't want to listen to the other side. And that's just what it is. But at the end of the day, this is a pandemic going on, and all this is at the forefront. So we have no choice but to listen to each other. And that's what it is. So
and that's what I noticed too, it's the lack of conversation. Nobody want to have this conversation because in the end, you can't please everybody, and somebody knows that their opinion is going to offend someone. So I feel like having more conversations like this is easier. It all starts in the home, but I want to see what happens next too in the NFL and the NBA and many other sports, because honestly, people can be all talk, and if their actions don't match up, then that's when you can see where the confliction comes in. So I want to see where it goes from here.
Definitely. Me too. And hopefully, everything will pan out well with this pandemic, because these sports are trying to, maneuver through the pandemic and get everything going. So with that being said, the next topic that I present to you fellas and Mel, should the NFL cancel the preseason?
Here's what I think about that. It's kind of conflicted because you want to make sure you have some games for the NFL teams to prepare for the upcoming regular season should it happen. But this part, let's not forget, most of America is suffering through the increasing cases of coronavirus daily, unlike New York City, in New Jersey, who just announced that their games are not going to have any fans, at least for now. We should get the preseason started because how else are you going to prepare for the upcoming regular season? Well, I mean, it wasn't really that big of a deal during the NFL lockout in 2011, but that's totally different. There were other stuff to watch. Right now, we need at least one preseason. We need a couple of preseasons. Like, look at how MLB does their exhibition game or summer camp, as they're calling it. Look at how they prepare for the upcoming regular season, which is only going to be 60 games, which is a lot more than what the NFL plays. Well, not really more, but still a lot less than what the NFL plays in total. But yeah.
I mean, I would say this. Well, first of all, a lot of players are frustrated with the lack of direction going into the season. We had a lot of players like Richard Sherman, Drew Brees, just a lot of people, Todd Gurley, coming out with their frustrations because the NFL had since March to get everything right. I remember one point of this whole quarantine, this whole pandemic, where the NBA stopped the season and everybody was like, oh, the NFL's in the best spot because they have a couple months. The season is not going to start till September. They had all that time. And now it's creeping up, it's creeping up on them. Roger Goodell had the time to sit back, feet cocked up, his pina colada, all right? If y'all watch my shows, y'all know I'm a pina colada guy. So I'm going to use that as an example. But he had time to sit back with his feet cocked up with his pina colada and relax a little bit and then get everything ready for now. And it's like the season is supposed to start. Training camp is supposed to start next week. The rookies are, I believe this week, the rookies are supposed to return to action. So it's like, these players want to know. You're not going to have an army of guys and send them out to the Middle East to fight a war with no ammunition. I mean, that's the ultimate setup right there. So what's going on? What is the plan? So with regards to preseason, I think, hell yeah, they should cancel the preseason. If Dr. Anthony Fauci is coming out and saying football may not happen this year, he's doubting football in general, why not cut the preseason out, limit the amount of games you play your 16, get your playoffs done, and get out. That's the best thing to go. College football each year, they don't have preseason games. They have spring practice, scrimmages, and then they go through their season, and then they're done. Why can't the NFL adopt that format for this year in particular?
Yeah. And to add on to what I'm trying to tell you is the NFL, you only play once a week. For each team, you only play once a week. And with no fans, it's even better because you will get only once a week. Well, two if you count the Thursday night football and Monday night football games, but yeah, let's keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that we still got over a month before they can decide whether or not the regular season get canceled. I mean, you can live without the preseason, but you can't live without the preseason because you need preparation for the upcoming season, regardless of everything that's going on, because you know that the games are going to happen without fans. While the Jacksonville Jaguars are talking about bringing in about 33% capacity, and yeah, let's not forget the Washington franchise hasn't come up with a new name yet, just because the Native Americans decide to get sensitive.
Well,
to your point though, Rafique, realistically, yes, with the Washington team, that has been basically going on for years, but really the real fire that got put under it was the corporations going out there, Nike, FedEx, stuff like that, basically saying, hey, this is really offensive at this point in time. And they based in Washington, and we're seeing it right now with Dan Snyder going out there and basically saying, hey, you know what? We got to do something. We got to make a change because he doesn't want to lose out on sponsorships either. And that's the common theme about this episode today is it's really about business at this point in time. It's about money. And to get back to your point, Jay, with everything going on within the NFL, Roger Goodell has, this guy's probably working hard. Him and his team are working hard. I'm not defending it at all either or anything like that. but they're working hard to go out and they're trying to find out what's going on with everything that's being said behind the scenes. They're trying to figure out, okay, what's going on, what's going to happen here. Baseball, we're seeing it now. We're getting to see the social distancing in the dugouts. They're having the players in the stands hanging out. The Red Sox, they wound up building a little staircase into the bleacher area over there so they can be socially distant from one another, from their teammates and from the opposition as well. And look, guys, listen, this is just basically all business at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
This all comes down to TV revenue for these teams to go out there and basically say, hey, you know what? If they cancel the 2 preseason games, which right now it already is looking like it at this point in time, they don't want to lose out on any money. The Giants and the Jets, Rafique mentioned it a little earlier in this little segment, basically that there's not going to be any fans in the stands. We might not see fans in the stands in New York till next year at that point in time. And then all over the country, there's going to be little pockets of fans probably showing up depending on what's going on. But realistically, with everything that's being said, should they cancel the preseason? Let's wait. It's coming soon, but let's see what happens here. This is all big business at the end of the day. Football's not really a sport. It's really a multi-billion-dollar business.
Yeah, it's a business. But my thing is, these people that's actually doing the action, that's actually on the football field, risking their lives, they want to know how we're going to make this work because, like Russell Wilson said, he may be having a baby with Seattle. That doesn't surprise me at all. We don't say he's Seattle, but he may be having a baby coming on the way, and he doesn't want to go back home and put his family at risk. So, yeah, the NFL, I know it's not the best, the easiest spot to be in with a pandemic. You're trying to figure out how you're going to run your corporation. But at the end of the day, you're the ones that's going to be, behind closed doors, feet cocked up, running stuff, and receiving the most money out of everybody while these players have to be on the football field, going to war with their teammates and risking getting the virus. So if I'm going to be out there, I want to know, how I'm going to make this work because I do have family at home. I mean, if you're single, let's say if there's a player that's single, then, it doesn't bother him as much because he gets to go home. He probably the only one living at home. But for guys that have families and kids and maybe people with underlying medical conditions, they don't want to go play football because, yeah, they love football. They're going to play, but they don't want to have to do that and then go back home and risk, a family member that they love getting sick. So I think these players have every right to want some clarity. And I think with what's going on right now, you just want to limit the amount of games. You want to limit the amount of interaction. Now, I know a lot of people will say these are how some teams make their little, roster changes and guys that are new rookies, they see who can play or not. But at the end of the day, this is not going to be a normal season, really, to be honest with you. It's going to be known as the COVID season. So it's not everything is going to be normal right now. We are not in a normal society. Right now, we're trying to get to any type of normalcy. So listen, it's the first time I recorded in 2 months. That's not normal. Mel, I used to record twice a week daily for 2 years. Without a break. So it's not normal. We live in an unnormal time. So if the best bet, if the most safest route, right, excluding the money, if the most safest route is to not play any preseason games, then I feel like they shouldn't play no preseason games.
But you got to keep in mind, New York at one point it was the epicenter for the coronavirus. It's now seen like lowest 5 deaths, highest 13. It's only 1 to 0.9% people tested positive for coronavirus. And you look at the NBA, just announced earlier today, none of the players got the coronavirus ever since they took the test in July 13th. So you can make a preseason happen before the NFL season actually happens. So you got to keep in mind. So it's not a total loss. And look at how the MLB is managing their season. Well, the exhibition games, I should say.
But my thing is, it's the risk factor. You always got to, entertain the risk factor. You're risking players getting sick for games that don't even matter. For games that, what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Preseason doesn't even matter. It's the regular season.
Honestly, I agree with Jalil on this because, we also got to take it to, account that these players hang out with different people sometimes. So we don't even know who they hanging out if they have it. And then it's like Football is very like physical, like y'all tackling, y'all stealing the ball, y'all grabbing, y'all pushing. It's a lot of like body, like, you know, physical action. So it's just like you have to think twice about it. I do feel like if they do go into the preseason, they need to be very strict on how many players they're gonna allow.
And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. We also got to take account when the winter comes, the second and third wave, because at the end of the day, all you got to do is look at history. Now, I do believe technology has gotten better, and hopefully a vaccine will present itself, but I'm guessing probably not till early 2021, which means the second and third wave in the wintertime, because I'm not going to lie, I just finished watching the news before I came on the show. There's people out here on the streets wilding. Hey, I mean, out here partying, 3 o'clock in the morning. I just had a party across the street from my house. They was partying out there till 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. So these guys are not taking it serious. So who knows what's going to happen? The football wants to get the season done and get out of there. Honestly, that's what all sports should want to do, is get whatever sports content you got to get, you know, make your money, entertain us folks as Americans, and then just get out. That's how I see it.
Yeah, but keep in mind, those parties you just mentioned, I was gonna say though, there's a lot of wild and nonsense going on in Astoria, Queens this past weekend, but the NFL players were not there. Let's just get the preseason to prep up for the regular season. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
All right, Rafique, I see you definitely want to have a preseason. Listen, if they have a preseason, I won't even be mad, to be honest with you, because I am a football fan, so that means more games. So I'm kind of for it in that retrospect. But at the same time, for safety reasons, why I don't want it. But hey, if it happens and everything goes through, then hey, I'm happy as a football fan, I would assume. I'm not going to stop watching the games because of, other politics. Like, Mark Davis, I'm going to keep bringing his name up, is going to, with his basketball. But anyway, Mel, we have the grind report to close out the show. Briefly touch on these last two topics that we have. So, Mel, would you take us away?
All right. So on the grind report, we have the first situation, which is August Alsina drops a diss track. I wouldn't want to call it a diss track. I don't know what I want to call it, but we call it a diss track towards Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith about the terminology that she used, which was entanglement. So like the whole situation with August Alsina being in a relationship with Jada Pinkett Smith while Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith were separated. So does anybody have any opinion on that?
Listen, man. Honestly, I told myself this summer I was going to do a lot of less gossiping because I don't like the gossip. That's not my thing. Even though over here on the show, we try to incorporate a lot of different topics. To be honest with you, August Aslina, if you're going to make a diss track to Will Smith is the OG. A lot of people forget that Will Smith is a rapper because, a lot of us, we don't like to dig into history. We just know what we see now. So we see the actor, the guy that just, was in Bad Boys 4 and, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But we don't know that he was actually a rapper before. So I'm pretty sure if you're going to do a diss track, Will Smith is going to probably come up with something that's probably going to end your career. Honestly.
Exactly. You diss somebody, they're going to dispatch. That's just how hip-hop game goes.
That's true.
And
I feel like I wouldn't want to call it a diss track. I don't know. I feel like Jada Pinkett Smith did downplay the situation, which I feel like was personally wrong because it's like it happened and Will Smith was getting her, was trying to get her to say it's a relationship. You had a relationship with him while we were separated. In my opinion, I don't feel like people should be, exploring other partners while you're separated because you're still legally married. And even if you're legally separated, you're not, that divorce is not final. But I will say that I was very upset with the situation because a lot of people made this the main topic, and with everything that we just discussed in the earlier in the show is going on, a lot of people lost
you're worried about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett.
Yeah, so I was very upset because I'm just we're in a global pandemic. People are still dying. People are losing their family members. Police brutality is still a thing. Racism is still a thing. And you're worrying about who Jada Pinkett Smith is sleeping with? I was so upset, and I'm still so upset about it. But
and my thing is, I don't know why they, actually televise it on the red table. They actually put the video out there for people to see. I think when you have issues in your family, that's something that should be going on internal conversations like that. So you know how, I'm not surprised by anything 2020 brings to the table, to be honest with you. 2020 has been a rough year, and I am not surprised. So this is something that, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, I heard they had an open relationship for years. I don't know what's going on with, that side of the family. And honestly, quite frankly, it's none of my damn business.
Like I said, I was so upset and still upset because I'm just like, y'all, like, we really worried about what Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith got going on. And there's people dying and we still fighting for justice because police officers is not being arrested. And then we got people out here shooting up the place. Gun violence is crazy right now in New York.
Outside. It's like Gotham City. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. And it's like we are really worried about the wrong things right now. Like, gun violence is at its max. I wouldn't even say it's at its max, but it's really high.
Exactly. And you even got people, and not to mention, you got people destroying the Black Lives Matter mural in California and here in New York City. And you know what? The most recent happens to be two black women just 10 years apart from each other as far as age. Like, come on, grow up. Why would you go do that? You're a black woman destroying a Black Lives Matter mural. Black is included in the Black Lives Matter for a reason. You're a black woman that's supposed to support it.
I just say can't get it out.
That's crazy.
Can't get it out.
Nah, definitely. But what do we got next on the agenda? The last topic.
So next we have, oh God, we have Kanye West presidential speech. So of course, as some of us may or may not know, he did a rally in South Carolina, I think, trying to get their votes, and that rally went completely left. I honestly want to say it's a cry for help. I honestly want to say that because I'm just like, ain't nobody in their right mind. It's just, I don't. You guys take over because I'm speechless right now for I don't know.
I don't know what to say. You know what? I was asked about this lady, Lebron, who's like a publicist that I put on my podcast that me and Will did like a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. She did do a little rant about Kanye West and what he said about him, Harriet Tubman. I mean, all I gotta say is you gotta be careful what you say in your debates because that's gonna impact you getting selected as president. You're not gonna outlast Donald Trump if you go keep talking like that, Kanye.
Oh man, I could just imagine how society would be if Kanye West is in office, man. I mean, right now we trying to trend upwards after what's going on with this pandemic, and honestly, I don't even consider him to be in his right mind at all. To be honest with you, I gotta keep it real. I mean, just to be going off like that, and honestly, we need a president right now. We need a serious president with actual plans of how he wants the country to be running and what things he's going to get done. I think that's what we need right now. We trying to get away from the soap opera that is, what's going on in society right now, and we want more seriousness because this is a serious time. We don't need none of that, foolishness, rants, and all that. Right now, the country is in a racial divide. We are in a pandemic. I just think Kanye needs to get his help and keep it moving.
You know what? The only serious kid I can think of, I can't believe I'm saying this, Joe Biden, not Sleepy Joe. I mean, some of my friends call Sleepy Joe because he mistakenly said Arizona. He was supposed to say Florida in the speech. But you know what? I'd rather that than Donald Trump or Kanye West at this time.
Look, this.
I don't even know how I feel about Joe because, I happen to see Joe's speeches a lot, and he's always falling asleep. We don't need you getting cozy in that Oval Office chair, brother. We don't need you when stuff is going on to be out here snoring and sleeping. So, listen, it is what it is. Right now, we are in unprecedented times in society. But hopefully, things will get better. I'm of the mindset that things are, trying to get better, even though there's a lot of things happening at the same time. But hopefully, us on our individual podcast can continue to, give the people and listeners that listen to our shows respectively some type of leeway to be entertained through these crucial times. I'm sure, Will, you will continue to do great things on your podcast. You as well with Rafique and Mel, what we doing WYGL. We're going to have more content coming out and the Real Leel Show and in the Huddle Sports Radio. That's what we could do right now. So if y'all could go down the line, shout out y'all social media so where people can follow you and listen to your podcast. Starting with you, Will, if you want to go first.
Sure. Thank you, Julio, for having me on, by the way. And,
Pleasure.
Thank you. You can follow me at Will Cherucci on Instagram and on Twitter. That's WILLCHIARUCCI. You can follow On The Board Sports on Instagram at On The Board Sports. You can follow it on Twitter just without the S, On The Board Sport. We've been trying to post new episodes each and every single day. We've had on plenty of special guests. We've had on, most recent guest that we've had on was Greg Allman from The Athletic. He covers everything about the Tampa Bay sports scene, talking about the Tampa Bay Bucks, Rays, and even the Lightning as well going down over there. So it's a little quick episode, but it's been good. And we've been posting out some really good content through the podcast page. And forgive me for looking like I'm burnt like a tomato, but when you're working right at Sunnyside Yards and trying to build a railroad, everything like that, it's just absolutely nuts. So, excuse me if I'm looking tired at all or anything like that. But
that's a heat wave going on.
Yeah, I mean, working.
Yeah, that's just literally a heat wave. I mean, I was just like go for a walk outside, and not just the heat wave was just so brutal.
Yep.
So I couldn't even stay out all that long. And thank you for having me on once again, really. And I hope to be on some more episodes of your content very soon. You can follow me on Rafique _Louis BK. That's RAFIQUE _LUIBK. And you can also follow my Nothing But That Sports Talk.
Mel?
So thank you for having me on, Leel, of course. And it was a pleasure meeting you guys and having this wonderful conversation. I hope we get to have more conversations like this, and I hope that you guys that are listening get to have more open conversations like this in your home with your friends, just being more open about what's going on in this world, because we cannot escape it at all. But with that being said, you can follow me on my social media at Melanie_Allure. So that's Melanie, MELANNIE _Allure, ALLURE. And of course, follow us at WYGL _podcast on Instagram, and we'll be sure to get more updates and more videos out for you guys. So yeah,
definitely. And definitely follow me on YouTube at Real Leel TV. That's where I drop a lot of content, a lot of exclusive content that you probably won't see on other platforms. So definitely the YouTube channel is important. Subscribe and follow me on Instagram at real.leel_TV. Once again, real.leel_TV. I will be posting a lot of videos on there as well. And WYGL _podcast. In the Huddle Sports Radio is another one. And definitely, we got a lot of material coming. Even though it's a hiatus going on, we still want to deliver the good content for y'all people that listen to sports. At the end of the day, that's what we love doing. We love getting together and talking about sports. We're not with the politics of the radio and all this and the podcast. And we just sports fans like y'all, and we love to get together to talk about sports. I know I do for sure. So once again, thank you guys for coming on. It's been a good show. And until next time.
Before you go, bro, I'm a Jet fan. You know it. You got to take down that Tom Brady posting.
We out the division now, Tampa Bay. So, it's not the same. But listen, Tom Brady, Tampa Bay, I'm telling y'all, they're going to do some things this year.
Don't sleep on Cam Newton's Patriots. Don't sleep on Cam Newton, my guy.